Hey everyone, welcome back. If you tuned in last time, you saw this. When I took off on that last flight, I had no roll control at all. So my quad was stuck like that. So I got pitch, that appears to be fine. Now it's drifting a little bit. But like when look at that. I think the gimbal's messed up. Now I was super worried that I would not be able to finish this challenge, but it is now day 26. I did get it repaired. If you want to see what I did to fix it, click the link in the description down below. But today, we're getting back at it, and our focus will be on rates. So what are rates, and why would you care about them? Well, rates are the way that your stick movements on the controller relate to how the quad responds. And there's a few different ways to tinker with it. One way is called Expo. And essentially what Expo is in the throttle curve. If you had no Expo, it was just 0% throttle, 0, 100% is 100, and it's just a straight line in between. So if you move the stick up 50%, you get 50% throttle. That's all that means. Expo kind of flattens that curve out. I hate that I just said flatten the curve. But it flattens the curve out a little bit, and it's meant to provide a little bit better resolution in like the lower mid-range of the stick movement. So if you were flying racing, for example, you'd probably want a little bit of Expo in there and lower maximum rotation velocity or pitch or whatever axis you're on. The reason for that is you want to have the max control that you possibly can when you're going into a gate or you're trying to pass somebody or something like that. You know, you don't want super twitchy movements that can get you off course or send you into a gate or into the ground. You want it pretty precise. But in freestyle, you want a little bit faster movement because it doesn't have to be as precise and, you know, down to the millimeter as it does in racing. You typically want a faster rate. And now that I've been flying for quite a while, I haven't really done a whole lot with rates. I've pretty much just left it at the stock. I think I have like 40 center sensitivity, 650 degrees per second rotation, and maybe like 0.1 Expo or something like that. They're pretty slow, and you can certainly fly that way. It's not a problem. Like I can do all the tricks that I want to do. I can do juicy stuff, I can do flow, I can pretty much do anything I want. The problem comes in when you want to do it easier or more comfortably. I'm finding that the more I fly, I'm putting a lot of hours into flying on this 30-day challenge, and my thumbs hurt like after so long. And it's because I have to move them so far to get the equivalent response of somebody who has got rates set up for them that moves it just a tiny bit and it does the same motion. I just have to move it so much further to get the same result, and it hurts after a while. It's like if you play video games for like 8 hours, your thumbs hurt after a while. So today I have set up 5 different rate profile settings in Betaflight, and I will be able to change those through my goggles. If you're wondering how I do that, I just set up the smart audio on my VTX. I'll do another tutorial on that. Otherwise, there's plenty of other ones out there. I'm sure Bardwell has one. But if you don't have that, I highly recommend getting that. It makes it so much easier. So I have these 5 rate profile settings. Number 1 is just the stock one. So we're gonna go through that first and just see how the quad handles, how it flies, how I like it. And then we're gonna move to the other 4. I think I have them set up at 750, 800, 850, and 900 degrees per second rotation. I believe I kept the center sensitivity and the Expo the same. I just want to see what changing that degrees per second will do for the types of things that I'm trying to get out of it. We're gonna try the stick cam again today. I kind of have an awkward setup here. I just have a tripod. We'll see how it goes though. So that was rate profile 1. Okay, and again, if you guys don't have smart audio set up so you can control everything from your goggles, I seriously recommend doing it. Whoa, that's already way snappier. Okay. That's gonna take some getting used to. What the hell? I think I had a desync there. Well, that was unexpected. I mentioned a desync. What that means is, like, so I was rolling left, and so that means one of these two motors, if not both, suddenly stopped spinning or taking commands from the flight controller, which meant it was just these two. So when I tried to stop rolling, it just kept going till the very end there. Then they synced back up and I had control. But it felt like, that's what it felt like. I just didn't, like when I stopped rolling, it kept rolling. I don't know quite what that was about. I'm gonna make my repairs in the car here because it's kind of cold out, my hands are freezing, but I don't have any more of these arm protectors for the QAV with me. So I took a broken piece of the GoPro mount because I needed some sort of standoff for that screw. So that's what I'm going with for this next flight here. I also turned my P gains up a little bit. I don't quite know enough about a desync to know if that's really a fix, but I just know that my P gains are quite low. I think the pitch and roll were both at 45, and I'm pretty sure that's low compared to what a lot of people use. Because I'm still kind of working out the kinks of this quad from when I rebuilt it a few months ago. So let's put this back together. We'll see if that works. You know, honestly, I might not do the death roll thing. I might just fly normally. Maybe like a Vanny roll, but I'm not gonna do like the 2 or 3 rolls in a row. I think that's when it gets confused. So I'm gonna try and not give it the chance to do that. Now we are going to rate profile 3, which is 800 degrees per second. 40 center sensitivity and still 0 Expo. Still not used to this menu. So let's see how we like this. Honestly, that 750 we just did, maybe it's just because I've been flying that in the simulator a lot, but that felt pretty good. Let me get my stick cam set up here. And again, we're gonna try and not go too crazy because we got a bent motor bell and that sketchy desync issue. So the yaw feels way faster. There's still a decent amount of control here. That's definitely faster though. It's sure a lot easier to do these juicy maneuvers. That's for sure. Yeah, that's way easier. I like this a lot. I think maybe I need a little bit of Expo or a little more of the center sensitivity to flatten that curve a little bit more. But this feels really good. Like it's still enough to do some of this technical stuff. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Maybe a little bit more sensitivity, or I guess a little less sensitivity. But as far as the rate and where that rate comes in, I'm pretty happy with that. Well, let's step it up again. See what we end up with. Rate profile 4, just to confirm, we're now at 850 degrees per second. Everything else is the same. Okay, let's try it out. Ooh, that is fast. Yeah, that's quick. Man, that spins fast though in the yaw. That's crazy. All right. So really quick before we do our highest rate here, I'm flying with a bent motor valve. Now, that's never a good idea. I fully understand that, and I do have another one. I just am too lazy to switch it out. But if you're going to be stupid smart, if that makes sense. I am constantly checking this temperature of this motor here, like after every minute or so of flying. And if it got at all hot, I mean at all, I would stop flying, because that could seriously damage the motor. I would assume that could also cause a desync, or just the motor to fail, and you'd be tumbling out of the sky and breaking your quad, or maybe even running into somebody or something. So just don't do this unless you're going to do it the smart way. Always check the temperature of stuff. In general, electronics do not like heat. This is no different. So if you're going to be dumb the smart way. Now let's do our last 900 degrees per second test, and then I'm going to see where I'm at in terms of how I like each one of these. And from there, I think I can start tweaking the Expo or the center sensitivity a little bit more, just to see what it does and how I like it. Rate profile 5, just to confirm, 900 degrees per second, 40 center sensitivity, and 0 Expo still. Let's try it out. I have a feeling this is going to be too fast. I think this is what Bardwell flies. Oh, what the? Lost video. Why did I lose video? I think maybe my antenna was loose, a VTX antenna. But we'll see. Oh, I didn't even see that branch. Yeah, that's really fast. Sure makes Vanny rolls a lot easier though. With my 650 degrees, I could barely even get around in time. Yeah, that's way easier. It is getting quite windy here. Back in the car to warm up. I'm pretty happy with where I ended on rates today. I had 850 degrees per second on pitch, roll, and yaw. I had 0 Expo on pitch, roll, and yaw. And I had 100 center sensitivity on pitch, roll, and yaw. Now I know in my OSD, you guys were seeing, I think it was the RC rate, and then it said 0.1 at the end, and I was saying 100. That's because the rates I use in Betaflight are actual rates, and the ones in my OSD are something different. I'm not quite sure what they're called, but they mean the same thing. They're just called something different. So when I say 100 and you say 0.1, I mean 100 in actual rates in Betaflight. So just keep that in mind if you see like weird numbers in your OSD that don't match what you see in the Betaflight rates. It's all saying the same thing, just in a different language, essentially. It's kind of confusing. Everything in this hobby is confusing. So if you guys haven't really looked at rates, you're just using the stock Betaflight rates, that's probably fine to a point. But when you start trying to get better and you're flying a lot more, and in my case, you had the thumb pain from pushing the stick so far all the time, then it's time to tinker with the rates a little bit. I got this whole idea because Bardwell just put out a video about how to find your best rates for you. And I didn't quite do it his way, but I think I followed it close enough, and I pretty much landed on where he suggested anyways, I believe. I personally like a little bit slower rates. I'm not really a Mr. Steel, twitchy, super fast type of pilot. So I know my rates are slower than some, but that's okay. You don't have to be like everyone else. Do what works for you. Do what you want to do. And one last thing about the desync I had earlier, my remedy for that was turning the gains up. Now, I don't quite think that's a sound engineering decision. I'm not sure that really affects that at all. In fact, it might make it worse because the flight controller would be trying harder to correct a motion, and it might desync that way. So I'm not quite sure that was a sound decision as it relates to that specific problem. But I did have the other problem of spongy, soft controls, and that was a solution for that. If your quad, if you make a quick movement and it like little spongy movements a little bit, tries to correct itself, that's a P gain issue. So from that perspective, it was a sound decision. I just don't think it was for the motor desync. That's more of an ESC thing, but I will figure that out and see if I can get that fixed. Well, I'm gonna get back to flying now. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. These have been so much fun. I only have like 4 more days left on this challenge. God, I hope nothing else goes wrong, at least that I can't fix that night. Thanks again for watching. If you like this video, drop a like down below. Feel free to leave me a comment, and please subscribe if you haven't. Thanks. See you on the next one.
You were like a ransom note. If I give in, will you come home? I'd put everything I'd had into getting you back. I was only 17, and you were the air I breathed. I walked across a burning bridge for you, for you. Those roads we walked, I'll know forever. Those times we talked, I still remember. Is it not enough that I played with my heart once, twice? If I'm blind to who you are, which of us was behind bars? Were you worth the price I paid? Your ransom. a way to justify missing the signs I knew. My hands were tied the moment we met, and there was more to you.